Hello, my most amazing artists. Let's make a Mother's Day project inspired by Pablo Picasso. Allow me to introduce you to the famous artist Pablo Picasso. Pablo was born in Spain in 1881. He's most famous for his variety of art style over the course of his life. As we look at some of his paintings and masterpieces, let's see if you can find some elements of art. Here is one of his self-portraits that he made when he was just 15 years old. You can see that it was very realistic. Over time, Pablo's style changed. When his friend died, he made this self-portrait using shades and tints of blue to show the emotion of sadness. Later in his life, Pablo Picasso explored shape and emphasized color in his self-portrait. Pablo's masterpieces include sculptures as well as simple line drawings. He explored color in this painting called The Three Musicians. Do you see the dog in the corner? This famous style of Pablo Picasso called Cubism was when Pablo would take a shape, take it apart, and put it back together in a new way, like this guitar. He did the same thing in this sculpture. It's almost like a 3D version. If you want to learn more about Pablo Picasso, check out some of the videos and links below. Two more paintings that are my favorites. This beautiful painting with simple lines called The Mother and Child shows a tender relationship between a mother and her child. Speaking of mothers and children, Mother's Day is coming up soon, and this painting is our inspiration. I love the bright colors and the simple lines in this painting. It fills me with joy, peace, and love that brings when you give someone flowers. This is the inspiration for our Mother's Day project today. Let's get started. Okay, so what you need for this project is paper, a pencil with a good eraser, a Sharpie marker or another kind of pen. Of course, always ask before you use something permanent at your house. And we need some bright colors. So I've got my watercolors ready and my brushes. Maybe you don't have that, that's totally fine. You can use markers, crayons, colored pencils, anything that's at your house that you can use. Let's get started. Okay, a couple of things I want us to keep in mind before we get started. First is kind of the composition or the placement of the hands and the flowers. This is just a picture of, this is actually my iPad, but wanted to show you. See how the hands are kind of in the middle? I'm also noticing that the edge ends before the edge of the paper. And I'm also noticing there's space at the top for the flowers, and there's space below the hands for the stems of the flowers. And as you can see, we have over here actually a right hand, and then this hand is actually a left hand. See how the thumb is going upwards, and here the thumb is kind of grabbing the stems of the flowers. So we want the flowers to look upright and the hands to look upright. So I've got a little trick to help us do that. Now the first thing I want to do, I'm thinking about the placement of my hands. So like Pablo Picasso's print, ours is going to kind of have the flowers up here and the two hands right here. But here's the thing. I want to trace my right hand on the left side of the paper and my left hand on the right side of the paper. And that sounds a little bit confusing, so to help me out, and I want you to do this too, very lightly with my pencil. Did you hear me say lightly? We're gonna erase it later. I'm gonna write a very small L for left in the left-hand corner just to help me out. And then on the right-hand corner, I'm gonna make a very small R for right. That will help me as I trace my hands, because now I'm gonna turn my paper and I'm gonna trace my right hand on the side where it says L, right here. And I'm gonna trace my left hand on the side where it says R for right. Now, I actually have a special helper that's gonna do this. His name is Jonathan, and if you saw my other video, Jeremiah was my helper, and so Jonathan's gonna be my helper. I'm actually gonna trace his hand. Now, he is a baby, so we'll see how it goes. Remember, if at any point you get behind, you can always pause the video and catch up. Okay, so I've got Jonathan here. He's gonna be my special helper, and I'm gonna trace his hand. He's gonna make a little Mother's Day project for his grandma, and this could be interesting, so here we go. I have Jonathan's right hand on the left side of the paper. You can see, remember that little L that we made? So I'm gonna place his hand kind of towards the bottom, but not too close to the bottom, so we have some room for some stems. And trace, let's see how it goes to trace his hands. He's pretty wiggly. Okay, so I've got Jonathan's right hand over here on the left side of the paper, and now I'm gonna do his left hand on the right side of the paper. So I'm gonna turn it this way and get him ready. Okay, next is getting to the fun part. Now we're ready to start making our flowers. Pablo Picasso had 4 colorful flowers on his masterpiece. But the fun thing about Pablo Picasso is that he experimented with so many different kinds of art styles, and I want you to do the same thing too. You can copy the way that Pablo Picasso did his, or you can do it your way. I'm gonna add some more details to my flowers to make it look a little more like folk art flowers, but you can do your art style. The important thing is just to do your best and to have fun. I'm using a pen just so you can see better. You might want to use a pencil if you feel more comfortable. But I'm just going to be adding some flowers, and my flowers, like I said, are going to be a little more detailed than Pablo Picasso's. And just because I think I have a different style than Pablo Picasso. And you probably do too, so you can do it your way. And just gonna add a little more details to my lines. And these don't really look like real flowers that actually have names like you would name a tulip or a daffodil. These are just kind of flowers from my imagination. Maybe you want to do that too, but it's totally up to you. Okay, I think I'm happy with the way my flowers turned out. They're not perfect, but I'm just gonna keep going with it. And I'm ready to add some colors. So you can add colors your way. I'm gonna use some paints, but like I said before, maybe you have markers at your house that you wanna use, that's totally fine. The one thing I do want you to wait to do is the stems of your flowers. So don't quite do the stems of your flowers yet, because I'm gonna help you with that part. We want to stay consistent with Pablo Picasso's style by keeping this extra space white, including the space inside the hands. We want to keep that so that it looks pretty similar to Pablo Picasso's original painting. All right, here we go. Now, one thing I really liked about Pablo Picasso's style is that he wasn't worried about staying in the lines or making the colors totally realistic. So you can really have fun with your colors and don't worry about staying in the lines. Just focus on making it look really nice and happy. And of course, this is for your mom for Mother's Day, and she's gonna love whatever you do. So just do your best and have fun. Okay, now I'm ready to add the stems to my flowers, but I want you to be aware of the hands that you traced. So we want it to look like the hands are actually holding the flowers. So all you're gonna do is kind of, when you get to that line that is part of the finger or hand line, you're just gonna skip over it and keep going after it all the way down. Okay, another thing Pablo Picasso did that is inspiring me is that he used some different shades of green for his stems. So I'm gonna try that too. I've got some light green, got some dark green. Just gonna kind of come on down, hopping over the flowers, the fingers. And keep adding those stems, and I'm going to keep going. To make it a little more balanced, kind of add some stems or some extra greenery kind of coming out of the top of the bouquet. This is something else Pablo Picasso did. And it just makes the bouquet look a little fuller, and a lot of times florists will actually do that. They'll add other kinds of greens to the flowers just to make it look a little more full. You can do that too. And of course you can copy me, but you don't have to. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do, and if you're using paint, you might want to wait until your paint dries, is use your pen or your Sharpie and trace over those pencil lines of the hands to make them really stand out. So I'm going to go ahead and trace Jonathan's little fingers and hands, and you can do that too. Okay, and the last thing you want to do is use your eraser. Erase any extra pencil lines that you see. Okay, and of course these letters that we wrote up at the top. Erase those real good. And don't forget to sign your name. Maybe you want to give this to your mom as a special painting or decoration to put up in your house, or even a Mother's Day card. You could write Happy Mother's Day on the top. It's totally up to you, and your mom is gonna love it no matter what because she loves you so much. Hope you had a wonderful time painting with me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!